in terms of pre-draft, you're trying to prepare them for workouts. What is a team going to have you do? We want them to look the best.
Do you know that information already? Like what they do?
I mean, I don't know exactly what a team's going to do, but you have an idea what. And I call around and ask, and what certain, I've been able to build some relationship with NBA coaches as well. So, I call and ask what they do. Every team's going to do something a little different. But just trying to prepare them for that, and at the same time, also increasing their skill level and where they want to improve and where we think they're going to need, everything is fit, I was doing James Wiseman's pre-draft, right? Well, he got drafted by the Warriors. We kind of, leading up to it, we were starting to feel like that's where he was going to go. Well, guess what? There's Steph Curry, there's Klay Thompson, there's all these guys there. Like, hey, you need to do. These are probably the things you're going to be doing your first couple of years.
Right.
And if you do these things really well, it's
a good place to be on deck.
Yeah, it could be kind of easy. Whereas like. Let's say you take I did Cole Anthony as well. He got drafted by Orlando. His situation is a little different. He's probably gonna have the ball in his hands. Yeah, he's gonna have the ball in his hands. He's gonna do more.
He's also got a bigger workload.
Yeah. So it's just different. And again, you don't always know where they're gonna go, but sometimes when they're high draft picks, you can kind of already the agency kind of they're talking with the teams.
You can slate them, especially like with team needs and things like that.
Especially like 1 through 5. Usually, you know who's getting picked, right? You see the projection. Everyone knows kind of where they're going.
I wanted to go back on something real quick that you mentioned though, because it's very interesting. Since you're like I call it the circuit that you guys are in, right? The basketball has its own circuit, and so when you're traveling to a place that has produced tremendous talents like Spain, even Argentina, things like that. Like when you're going into these countries and into these basketball circuits, you're going in there in a training capacity, or are you there to run camps yourself? Like what?
Yeah. So
and how does it differ?
So
from,
we're running.
From here?
I'm going there to run camps, right? So there usually someone reaches out to me or someone recommended me, and we put together how we're going to do the camp. I mean, obviously they're doing the groundwork, bringing the kids, but I'm preparing. Again, you have all levels. It could be, so there's a difference, right? So in the U.S., there's a huge focus on individual skill level, right? And not that there isn't a focus on team or whatever, or team skill, right? Because it's a skill to be in a team where there's a lot of ball movement and you got to figure it out, right?
For sure.
So here it's, and we have elite athletes and we have a lot. So, but what happens is I notice that when you go somewhere else, the team has more emphasis on the individual skill, whereas here a lot of times individual skill has more emphasis, which you got to find the happy medium,
right? Because
I don't want the kid to be. I don't want to tell the kid don't work on your individual skill because I want him to continue to improve.
Yeah,
but at the same time, can you fit what you're doing? Because remember what I said, when you go back to your team, you got a little bit of a role. Can you fit whatever you're doing into the team concept, into the team, what your team needs, right?
Correct.
So, like for example, James Wiseman is. Nobody knows, or some people know, but that guy's really skilled.
Okay.
Extremely skilled. He can put it on the floor. He can post up. He shoots 3 decently. I'm sure it's gotten a ton better because when you go to the Warriors, all of a sudden everybody can shoot 3s.
Right, yeah. The very best of them, really.
But when he gets into that setting, right, the ball dominators are going to be Curry and Klay and
Draymond.
He's probably going to do a lot of screen setting and catching lobs and defending, right? So he might not be able to showcase all that skill right away.
Yeah.
And not only that, you got to go and earn it. You got to earn your spot, right?
For sure.
And I think once we see him back now, I mean, he's coming off. When we see him now, especially when Klay's back, you're going to see him, I think, really start to flourish. But just my point is, like, I'm a skills trainer, and then I'm also a coach now, right? So you got to try to find that happy medium. And then you also, as a coach, kids have their individual goals and their dreams. So how do you mix the dream with what the team needs, right?
For sure.
You don't want to kill a kid's,
drive,
right?
Confidence.
And it's hard because every kid wants to be a Division I player, right? But every kid
I wanted to play center field for the Marlins, bro, for the rip.
But every kid is not a Division I player.
Yeah.
And I think you can find a way to explain it to the kid and where their level is, and maybe sometimes we're wrong. I could be wrong at saying like, oh, I don't know if this kid can play at this level or not. But
well, sometimes it even takes years to figure that out.
Correct.
Like there's guys that in the NBA right now that didn't play D1. Some of them played D3. Some played T2. Like obviously, someone like Duncan Robinson played D3, ended up going to a Division I.
Right.
But that means a lot of people were wrong about him from the beginning if he ended up that low in the.
But to hit to someone like Drew's credit, there's a skill that's developed that that you're kind of honing. I would assume in maybe a place that is considered of a less talent, right? And then so if you are honing and then you're continuing to develop that skill, then that's when you give yourself that opportunity. It's almost like a chicken and the egg type of thing. If it's not evident, right?
Yeah. And I think, even going back to the James Wiseman situation, it's like that's a unique situation in itself because most people that get drafted at the top get drafted to a bad team, so they get the opportunity to go in there and, like you said, like hone their skills, like have at it. We're not playing
relied upon
right now.
more. So
we're trying to rebuild,
right?
And
so,
where we drafted you, we're making you that piece.
Correct.
He got drafted in a unique situation where it's like you're now playing with some Hall of Famers, guys are coming back from injuries. There's an expectation to keep winning.
And I'd personally, I'd want to go to a place where winning is a priority.